reports from the world's second largest continent. Hello, I'm Alison Lagrange. A very warm welcome from Durban, South Africa. We get you the news and the newsmakers from Africa. From elections to climate change to innovations and opportunities. As the world's attention shifts, we report from Africa, the heart of the global south. Join me every weekday live on First Post. Hello and welcome to First Post Africa, where we get you the top stories from the continent and from across the world. I'm Alison Lagrange, coming to you live from Durban, South Africa. First, let's take a look at the headlines. An 8.8 magnitude earthquake, one of the strongest ever recorded, hits off Russia's far east, triggering a tsunami. Waves have hit Japan and parts of the US, with dozens of nations on alert as millions evacuate amid surging waters of up to 1.3 meters high. France and 14 other Western nations call on countries worldwide to recognize a Palestinian state following a conference in New York aimed at reviving the two-state solution. Germany reportedly prepares multi-billion euro procurement orders, including 20 euro fighter jets, as Chancellor Friedrich Merz pushes to build Europe's most powerful conventional army and cut reliance on the US. The African Union refuses to recognize a parallel government in Sudan, urging member states to follow suit after the paramilitary RSF, locked in a civil war with the army, announced a new government and prime minister last week. And an explosion at a fireworks factory in central Thailand kills at least 9 people as authorities continue to search for more casualties. Hello and welcome. For our top story, we talk about some of the most crucial resources on Earth. Resources that power our phones, headphones, electric cars, and even modern warfare. I am talking about rare earth minerals. Africa holds some of the largest untapped reserves of these strategic minerals. And now it has become a new global battleground. As China dominates Africa's mineral sector, India is now challenging that control, ramping up its partnerships across the continent. India's Minister of State for Atomic Energy, Jitendra Singh, recently announced that the country has signed bilateral agreements with a range of countries, but mostly from Africa. Now, these include Zimbabwe, Zambia, Mozambique, Malawi, and the Ivory Coast, all rich in critical and rare earth minerals. The goal is to diversify supply chains and to reduce dependence on China. Earlier this month, a team of Indian geologists was reportedly sent to Zambia to explore copper and cobalt deposits. India is also reportedly in talks with the DRC and Tanzania for similar mining ties. Prime Minister Narendra Modi recently visited Namibia, a nation rich in diamonds, uranium, gold, and copper, and signed strategic mineral agreements. But why is India ramping up its strategy to access the key minerals? Now, rare earth minerals are a group of minerals found deep in the Earth's crust. They are difficult to find and extract. They are considered critical resources as they are vital for electric vehicles, smartphones and electronics, satellites and GPS, defense and space tech, and even medical devices. China currently holds the largest reserves, followed by Vietnam and Brazil. While Africa is not among the main producers, it has some of the largest untapped reserves. As the world rushes To secure these minerals, Africa has become a ground zero in a growing geopolitical contest involving China, the West, and now India. China controls over 90% of the global rare earth supply, not just mining, but refining, processing, and exporting. China dominates the entire value chain. It owns or finances several mines in Africa, also securing future supplies. But this dominance has come at a cost. Chinese mining companies face heavy criticism for exploiting workers, lack of transparency, hiring Chinese over local labor, and underpaying communities. As resentment grows, India offers an alternative. India, now the world's fourth largest economy, is using its democratic credentials and rising global stature to build trust. Its strategy is to create joint ventures, grant local ownership, and to generate shared profits. It wants to promote development-led partnerships, not resource grabs. As the scramble for rare earths intensifies, Africa stands at the center of a strategic power shift. China dominates for now, but India is increasingly making its presence felt, with a different model and a better promise. How can India counter China in Africa? To discuss this further, we have with us Samir Bhattacharya, who is the Associate Fellow at ORF. He is joining us live from New Delhi. Thank you for being with us.
Hi, Alison. Good to join you.
Now, what strategic advantages does India gain from partnering with African nations like Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Malawi for rare earth supplies? And how might this reshape global supply chains traditionally dominated by China?
Thank you. So, you see, once about 50 years ago, Henry Kissinger said that who controls oil controls the world. I think today the oil should be replaced by critical minerals. Who controls critical minerals controls the world. And today, as you just said, rightfully said, China controls 90% of the world's rare earth minerals. But then how much China actually produces? China only produces 7% of it, but it controls 90%. So other countries, India, as you said, that India is the fourth largest economy. It is this rare earth minerals like lithium. These are so important for so many activities. We need. We are in the middle of fourth industrial revolution. This fourth industrial revolution will be done using this digital mode. And for digital mode, we need rare earth minerals. So now India wants to be in the market. India, over the point of time, India has probably it's because of its lack of strategies or the understanding the importance. There has been some lack, but then it has realized the importance of critical minerals, and it has been overly dependent on import. So now India also wants to reduce its dependence on import, and most importantly the import is done from China, and China is like we don't want to it's like we are talking about when we are talking about de-risking or separating China from this value chain risk. We need to be India needs to be autonomous. So naturally, where is the area? Africa is the next frontier. As you said, I would not call it a scramble, but I would definitely say that because China is already a largest player, and then very recently US has also launched in that region the Lobito corridor, which is also again to acquire these minerals. And there are other countries like UAE, Saudi, many other countries there, Russia. These are also Russia
Right.
is have this so I think it is not really
Yes.
a scramble, but it is more like India is Africans are getting more choice.
Right, and Samir, given China's control over 90% of the global rare earth market, as you said, and its recent export restrictions, how effectively can India's bilateral agreements with African countries be in ensuring long-term supply, security, and industrial competitiveness?
Correct. So as you said, lithium is lithium or even other critical minerals. It's not very easy to acquire. While Africa possesses so much critical minerals, why Africa is not up in the value chain? Because it does not. Many of these African countries, they don't even have 24 hours electricity. Second is the transportation. To transport many of these countries like Zambia and many other countries, Zimbabwe. These are all landlocked countries. You need the roads to carry them till the port. So China, USA, these countries are offering infrastructure, but that is only to get the minerals. Now what India is offering, or India wants to offer, is a equal partnership where Indian investments will come, helping these countries to move up the value chain, these countries to build the infrastructure. But in return, what India will also get is these critical minerals for India's domestic, which will be very important for India's domestic growth. And also, apart from these commercial reasons, these partnerships, bilateral partnerships, also give India an adequate soft power advantage, a power that India does not have adequately at this moment. So I think overall it is more of a instead of like the way Chinese deals are working, like mineral resource. We are giving you, we will buy only the resources. What India offers is an equal partnership. It's like moving up the value chain, creating a lot of jobs, local jobs. So this is how I think India differentiates.
Right. Samir Bhattacharya, thank you very much for being with us on Firstpost Africa and for your valued insights there.
Thank you.
Let's turn our attention to US President Donald Trump's ambitions to play a peacemaker in war-torn African nations. Last month, Trump brokered a peace deal between the DRC and Rwanda, naming it as one of the reasons as to why he should be given a Nobel Peace Prize. And now, to further boost his peacemaker branding, he now wants to play a peacemaker in war-torn Sudan. Trump's push for peace in Sudan comes after a series of unsuccessful attempts to end the wars in Ukraine and Gaza. And it seems like his so-called peace efforts in Sudan may face the same fate. Now, a ministerial meeting on the Sudan war was set to take place today between the US, Saudi Arabia and the UAE with Egypt. But Washington postponed the meeting due to a reported disagreement between Egypt and the UAE over the final joint agreement. Cairo and Abu Dhabi are close regional allies, but they find themselves on opposite sides of the Sudan war. The two countries are seen as the key external players in Sudan's devastating war. The UAE has been widely accused of arming the Sudanese paramilitary forces, the RSF, in violation of a UN arms embargo on Sudan's western Darfur region. However, Abu Dhabi has repeatedly denied such reports. And on the other hand, Egypt is the closest ally of the Sudanese Army, which is why a disagreement between the two isn't surprising. Now, reportedly, ahead of the Washington summit, Egypt and the UAE disagreed on the role the warring parties would play in a potential peace process. The UAE reportedly did not want both the Sudanese Army and the RSF to participate in the transitional process, but Egypt disagreed with it. Cairo has repeatedly emphasized the importance of preserving Sudan's national institutions. Thus, the summit was stalled, and so were Trump's peacemaking ambitions. And the war in Sudan rages on. Over 4 million Sudanese fled to neighboring countries after the war broke out between the army and the RSF in April of 2023. Since then, the devastating war has killed tens of thousands of people, creating the world's largest hunger and displacement crises. Last week, the RSF announced the formation of its parallel government in the country. This move is expected to further complicate any peace efforts. Currently, Sudan is split. The army controls the north, east and centre, having recently retaken the capital Khartoum, while the RSF holds most of Darfur and parts of Kordofan, where recent attacks have reportedly killed hundreds. Trump's Sudan Peace Summit has been stalled for now, but this is not the first time such efforts are being made to restore peace in the war-torn nation. The US, under Joe Biden, and Saudi Arabia have previously sponsored several unsuccessful rounds of negotiations to end the bloody conflict. President Trump presented himself as the only one who could end wars. As of yet, he has not been able to end any of them. Now it remains to be seen if his so-called peace efforts in Sudan bear fruit of peace or further derail his peacemaker rhetoric. And from Trump's peacemaking efforts, let's shift our focus to his tariff storm, which is set to hit South Africa. Trump has imposed a 30% tariff on South Africa starting the 1st of August. The US is South Africa's second largest bilateral trading partner after China. And if the proposed tariffs come into effect, it is expected to cause around 100,000 job losses, with the agriculture and automotive sector hit the hardest. With just a day left now, South Africa is scrambling and still hoping to strike a trade deal with Trump. However, President Trump is in no mood to soften his stance toward the country, let alone striking a trade deal. Trump has suggested that he might even skip the G20 summit in South Africa in November this year.
I don't think so, no. I think maybe I'll send somebody else because I've had a lot of problems with South Africa and they have some very bad policies. Very, very bad policies, like policies where people are being killed. A lot of people are being killed. So I think I probably won't.
Any updates?
I'd like to, but I don't think I will.
Earlier this year, Secretary of State Marco Rubio also boycotted a G20 meeting of foreign ministers in Johannesburg. In February, the US president signed an executive order to cut financial assistance to South Africa. The Trump administration is growing more and more irritated with South Africa, and the US president has a whole list of reasons why. To start with, Trump has accused South Africa of systematically persecuting and killing white citizens. These claims were elevated by Trump's former ally, Elon Musk, who was born in the country. Now, things took a dramatic turn when, in a stunning White House meeting in May, Trump ambushed Ramaphosa by playing a video with reporters present that he purported showed a genocide against the country's white minority. The Trump administration has cited the persecution claims in granting refuge to South Africa's Afrikaner minority. Next is the land expropriation law. Signed in January, the law aims to redress historical inequalities from the apartheid era of white minority rule. Washington has accused the South African government of using the law to arbitrarily confiscate white-owned land. President Cyril Ramaphosa has rejected these assertions. Now, Trump has also been critical of South Africa's black economic empowerment policies. These were introduced to address the legacy of centuries of racial inequality. These laws offer incentives to companies to hire and promote black people, and in some cases require a certain percentage of black shareholders to share a license. Now, Trump is also utterly displeased with South Africa's genocide case against its close ally Israel over the war in Gaza. Even under the leadership of Joe Biden, Washington opposed South Africa's move. So here's the roundup of the current situation. South Africa needs to strike a trade deal with the US, but President Trump is in no mood to be cordial toward the country. With the August 1st tariff deadline looming, South Africa's future now hangs in the balance. And while U.S. policies continue to put pressure on African nations, many African Americans are making a different choice. Ditching the American dream, they are returning to Africa to reconnect with their roots, reclaim their heritage, and rediscover their identity. So, what is driving this shift, and what could it mean for Africa's future? Our next report has more details.
The American dream, glorified by pop culture and sown deep into the minds of people, has drawn many to the United States for decades. But that dream is getting a reality check and seems like it doesn't hold the same appeal anymore. For some, the real dream now lies deeper, in their roots, in heritage, and in identity. Many African Americans are now looking beyond the U.S., packing their bags and heading home, to Africa. Why? To reconnect, to feel accepted, and to reclaim their heritage. 38-year-old American YouTuber Austin Holloman is one of them. He moved to Kenya 9 months ago. He says the U.S. felt broken to him, but on the other hand, Kenya feels warm, welcoming, and complete.
So I picked Kenya because I feel the safest here. People look similar to me, or you could say they look like me. It's not like going to Europe or going to some Latin American countries where there aren't that many black people. And I think God just wants me here. It feels like I'm at home, like I fit in here.
And it's not just about feelings. Politics is also pushing this change. Holloman says America's global image is not what it used to be. And with Donald Trump's return, he is worried what comes next.
He's creating global tension. So new countries are making it harder for Americans to even travel or to be a nomad in different countries. And like in Namibia, they deported Americans and they added new visa restrictions when before you could just fly right in. So Trump may not be the best solution for expats.
Holloman is not alone. Meet Kenneth Harris. He is an ex-military veteran. Born in Atlanta 2 years ago, he booked a one-way ticket to Kenya. Today, he is hosting guests in an Airbnb and enjoying his dream life in Nairobi.
I've always had that adventurous spirit, especially when I joined the military, got to go to different countries. And so me taking the opportunities to venture out to other places, that's what allowed me to make a home away from home. And Kenya is my new home.
Harris and Holloman are just two voices. A growing number of African Americans are making the shift. They want to connect with their ancestors and are calling the move coming home. And while Kenya is a hotspot, it is not just the only one. Ghana started Year of Return in 2019. It became a catalyst for thousands of African descendants to embark on the return journey. Last year, it granted citizenship to 524 Black diaspora members, mostly African Americans. Benin has followed suit. Last year, it passed a law giving citizenship to descendants of enslaved Africans. The American artist and Grammy-winning performer Ciara has just become one of the first to be granted citizenship. The motive behind this is not just cultural. Economists say this reverse migration could boost Africa's economies and help the continent to hold on to its talent.
In some way, America is losing talent, it's losing resources, it's losing the narrative that America is the land of dreams, is a viable place for anyone. There are abundance of opportunities. There is social cohesion, there is stability. This reverse migration is denting that narrative. So America is of course likely to lose, including things like brain drain.
So while more and more African Americans choose to return, they are not just escaping, but are returning to peace and purpose. And as they make that journey home, their stories aren't ending, they are new beginnings.
And that's it on the show for today. We will see you again at the same time tomorrow. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.